Welcome back to Your Health Matters with Health Coach Lisa. Thank you for tuning back in. I hope you are staying on your health journey for the year 2025 for a better, healthier you. Today, I'm going to talk about emotional overeating. Emotional overeating affects globally millions and millions of people. It is a worldwide epidemic, especially here in America. It started for a lot of people during the pandemic, from diabetes to weight gain to now being addicted to junk food. It started during the pandemic. Most people sat in the house, went nowhere, stayed in front of the television. Some people quit their jobs, some people just didn't work, and in some states, people were not allowed to actually work. The whole entire state shut down. Emotional overeating is one of the worst addictions to have. We all need one thing, is food, but it's about what you're putting in your body. Junk food is one of the most chemically based foods in the entire world. Junk foods contain a whole lot of chemicals, additives, preservatives. It's like a drug. Food is like a drug. It is very addicting. And once you get in an unhealthy eating pattern, it is very hard to break. Are you concerned that you might be struggling with emotional overeating? And I'm going to talk about a few things that you can do to get yourself back on the right path. So you might want to grab a pen and paper and write this down. To help you stop emotional overeating, number one, it's very helpful to keep a food diary. Write down what you ate, how much you ate, when you ate, and how you are feeling when you eat. That is very important. If you take notice and you go back to my video archives, I talk about the different things that are in our foods and even why when you eat fast food, you're going to be hungry within the next 20 or 30 minutes. There is a reason for that. So when you eat fast food, just start observing how you feel afterwards. When I used to eat a lot of fast food, I would feel actually very low energy. I would feel very just sluggish. I felt hungry after, I would say about, again, like 30 minutes. Because there are things in the foods that keep your brain from connecting that it's not hungry no more. So it's actually what they are putting in the foods, okay? So if you observe when you eat fast food, start paying attention to your body. Even anxiety, stress, and depression is related to junk food, fast food. When you stop eating junk food, fast food, if you are dealing with depression and anxiety, that is going to go away. It is a known fact that fast food, junk foods are all a contributing factor to imbalance, messing up your hormones, and anxiety and depression again. That is a contributing factor. So if you connect the dots and you're eating these foods and battling now with diabetes, depression, and now you're taking a bunch of pharmaceutical stuff, you're going to have some serious issues, more than maybe when you started out. To correct any type of disorder when it comes to overeating, emotional eating, your weight, you can correct it by just working on eliminating junk food, fast food. That's what it is. Junk food. I'll just call it junk food, as it is junk. That's all you're putting in your body. And then you want to, when you are feeling hungry, how hungry are you? You want to connect the dots that, are you under stress? Are you experiencing depression again, anxiety, any of those things, and you feel really, really hungry? You want to make sure it's not just you're hungry. You need nourishment in your body. You want to see if, when you go to grab junk food, when you go to get these foods, are you under stress and anxiety? If you are, you want to start seriously rethinking what you're putting in your body. All of this food is going to have side effects. It's okay every once in a while to have some junk, even some fast food every once in a while. But do keep in mind, it is a lifestyle change. It is all mental. So when you make your mind up to alleviate, get on your health journey, when you do that, you make your mind up to not going back to those foods at all. You have to wean yourself off those foods. Food, again, can be like a drug. Well, you might as well say that. If you were to pull up the amount of ingredients inside of these foods, you would know that you are putting some toxic drugs in your body. Like, my favorite used to be Doritos. So I would eat those Doritos, eat the whole bag, and still want another bag and want another bag. Why? Because it's the chemicals, it's the flavoring that's in your foods that make you crave these junk foods. And then you are left with feeling sluggish again, low energy, and in some instances, depression and anxiety is related to the foods that you're eating. Okay? And get support. It is really important that you get support. Take away the temptation. Snack healthy. Apples, bananas, apples and peanut butter, celery and peanut butter. There's a lot of different ways you can have healthy snacks. And they're probably cheaper and easier to make. And you know what you're putting in your body. Fight boredom. Boredom is the number one reason why people overeat, we found. So you have to find a way to beat boredom. And don't deprave yourself. Again, it's okay every once in a while. But eat it when you're not stressed out. Then you won't want as much. It's okay. Go out to dinner with family, friends, and you have something that you usually like to eat is okay, but not on a regular basis. Definitely get support. That's what we as health coaches can do. I do specialize in emotional overeating. If you want to contact me, and you want my services, and I can do local, or if you're not in my state, if you're out of state, we can do video chatting. So you can contact me by video. I can see you in person if you're local. And I have specialized in nutrition, wellness, emotional overeating, health coaching for close to 30 years. So you can contact me at yourhealthmatters777@gmail.com. If you contact me there, I will get back to you within 1 day. Now, another thing is, what are your emotions associated with when overeating? So again, stress. Mine used to be stress. I have found ways to combat stress rather than junk food. I have found meditation and yoga to be very helpful. So stress being the number one, and boredom, again, induce it. Stress is triggered by negative emotions. So I'm going to break this down. Stress is triggered by negative emotions, including fear and anxiety, rather than by the feeling of hunger, since eating might regulate your intensity. So fear, that is an interesting one. Fear can contribute to emotional overeating, we found. And then, of course, anxiety goes along with fear. So you've got to find ways to combat all of these different things. You got to find a way. Because in the long run, you're going to end up dealing with the side effects: obesity, diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. All of it is a contributing factor to emotional overeating. Now, I want to talk about binge eating. Binge eating is actually one of the biggest problems in emotional overeating. The goal for treatment, that's what we want to talk about. The goal for treatment of binge eating disorder is to have healthy, regular eating habits. Because binge eating often involves shame, poor body image, and other negative emotions, depression, by getting help for binge eating, you can learn how to feel more in control of your emotional overeating. Binge eating is something that if you are binge eating, you've got to look at what emotions you are feeling, what you are going through. Binge eating is the biggest, if not the factor, because binge eating, stress, anxiety, it all goes together. Let's just put it in one pot. Binge eating is actually something that I have had clients, quite a few, and my clients did not realize that binge eating was a contributing factor to things that they were suppressing. Because a lot of times, a lot of these things are something that you are suppressing. A suppressed anxiety. It could even be something that happened 10 years ago. We have to get to the root of the problem, why you are binge eating, emotional eating, stress, anxiety, sometimes things that we don't resolve, this is a result of not resolving unresolved feelings. Now, I want to talk about the psychology behind binge eating. Binge eating often occurs at times of also loneliness. Again, distress, stress, boredom, of course, we talked about that. And at such times, binge eating is used as a way to cope. It's just like a drug. Again, people don't think that food can be an addiction like is a drug. Well, if you have an eating disorder, it is like a drug. If you are addicted to food, there's all kind of addictions. And food is, I love food, but we have to have food, right? We have to eat. It's just getting ourselves in order and eating the right foods and nutrients so we can be healthier. So a way to cope with or distract from challenging emotions, you may experience feelings of guilt, some disgust, and depression after the episode of binge eating. I found keeping a journal is very important. You want to know what, right at that moment, write it down. What are you going through? What are you feeling? Write it down. And once a week, go back and reflect on it. You'll be surprised at most of your binge eating, stress, overeating, emotional eating is all related to your feelings. Another good thing you can do is talk therapy. Talk therapy can help you learn how to exchange unhealthy habits for healthy ones and reduce binge eating. I found talk therapy is most helpful. And how do you do that? If you have no one to talk to, get a mirror and talk to yourself. I know they say don't talk to yourself. That's not what I'm saying. I learned that in school, that when you get a mirror, you can go to the mirror and you can talk to yourself. This is a healthy talk. That is very helpful. Talking yourself through before you go binge eat or emotional overeating. Now, I want to talk about a few more things, and the next one is staying away from dieting. Trying to diet can trigger more binge and emotional overeating that leads to a vicious cycle that's hard to break. So, dieting is okay for sometimes for some people, but not emotional eaters and not binge eaters. Okay? It's just about making the food exchange. And also, you want to eat regularly every day, every 2 to 3 hours, to try to break the restriction you want to restrict yourself from binge eating by breaking the cycle, eating regularly every single day, every 2 to 3 hours. You don't have to do that forever, but you do want to go every 2 to 3 hours. Because once we get in this cycle and once we get in any bad habits, it takes 2 to 3 weeks to break. Now, I also want to talk about eliminating things that are in your home. So you want to not bring those things in your house. Don't bring things home that will give you access to grabbing something unhealthy. Eliminate any junk food, any processed foods, any foods that are related to your food addiction. You can replace them. There's even sugar. There's a lot of sugar-free things. There's a lot of organic things, which may be more pricey than others. Or you can start cooking your own food at home. And that is going to conclude my lesson today on emotional overeating.